These animals will soon disappear, from the whale shark, predicted to go extinct within the next 100 years, to the vaquita, of which fewer than 10 remain alive, including others like the punk turtle, the Yangtze finless porpoise, and many more. Here are 15 animals soon to disappear because of humans. But before we dive in, subscribe before I become famous. Number 15. Whale shark. The majestic whale shark is the largest fish in the ocean, growing up to 59 feet long. Yet, these gentle giants are now endangered due to human activity. Their numbers have declined by over 60% in just the last 75 years, with only 128,000 to 200,000 whale sharks remaining worldwide. The main threat to whale sharks is commercial fishing. Although hunting whale sharks is banned in many countries, they're still caught for their meat, fins, and liver oil. Unregulated fisheries continue illegally killing hundreds of whale sharks every year. Accidental bycatch in nets set for tuna and other fish also ensnares and drowns countless whale sharks. Increased ocean traffic from cargo ships and tourist boats is another hazard. Whale sharks often swim near the surface, making them vulnerable to ship strikes. The noise and pollution from marine vessels also degrade their habitat. As filter feeders, whale sharks are also at risk from ocean pollution. They accidentally ingest plastic debris and toxic chemicals from agricultural runoff. Climate change affects the plankton blooms and fish spawns they rely on for food. Rising ocean temperatures may further impact their reproduction and survival. If current trends continue, scientists estimate whale sharks could become extinct in the next 100 years. More international protections and enforcement are needed to curb illegal fishing and trade. Number 14. Dugong dugong. With its snuffling snout and sweet smile, the dugong gives the impression of a gentle giant. But this marine mammal, also known as the sea cow, is in peril. Dugong numbers have dwindled due to human activity, and the species is now classified as vulnerable. The dugong was once found throughout the warm coastal waters of the Indo-Pacific from East Africa to Vanuatu. Now, however, populations are small and fragmented across the dugong's range. In China, dugongs were declared functionally extinct this year after a study found no verified sightings since 2000. With just 100,000 dugongs left globally, their numbers are a fraction of what they once were. Humans have played a major role in the dugong's decline. Hunting dugongs for their meat, traditional medicine products, and tusks decimated populations in the past. Though largely banned today, poaching persists in some areas. More pervasively, dugongs die after being caught in fishing nets or struck by boats, casualties of increasing maritime traffic. The degradation and loss of the dugong's seagrass habitat due to coastal development, water pollution, and climate change also threatens populations. With a long lifespan of 70 years and slow reproductive rate, dugongs are especially vulnerable. The dugong's gradual demise serves as a wake-up call about the devastating impact of human activity on marine species. To save the remaining dugongs and the ecosystems they inhabit, concerted conservation efforts are needed across their range. Number 13. Hawksbill sea turtle. With its colorful patterned shell and sharp hawk-like beak, the hawksbill sea turtle is one of the most distinctive reptiles in the ocean. But this unique appearance that evolution has shaped over millions of years is now bringing the hawksbill to the brink of extinction. Hawksbill shells have been coveted by humans for centuries to make jewelry, ornaments, combs, and other decorations. This demand has led to the slaughter of millions of hawksbills over the last 100 years alone. Though international trade in hawksbill products is now banned, black market poaching continues, especially in the tropics. Hawksbills are also hunted for their meat, which is considered a delicacy, and their eggs taken for human consumption. This is despite health risks from toxins that accumulate in hawksbill flesh. Excessive egg collection, fisheries bycatch, loss of nesting sites to coastal development, marine pollution, and climate change are all additional threats driving hawksbill numbers down catastrophically. From an estimated historical population in the millions, only around 20,000 to 30,000 nesting hawksbill females remain globally. This is a decline of up to 98% that leaves the species critically endangered. To save hawksbills from extinction, conservationists are working to curb poaching and illegal trade, as well as developing alternative livelihoods for coastal communities that rely on turtles. Protecting nesting beaches and feeding habitats are also vital steps. Number 12. Asian elephant. The magnificent Asian elephant, the largest land mammal in Asia, is sadly facing extinction due to human activity. These highly intelligent and social creatures once roamed freely across most of Asia, from the Middle East to Southeast Asia. Now less than 50,000 remain in the wild. Asian elephants live in herds led by the oldest female and thrive in tropical forests and grasslands. Their trunks, which contain over 40,000 muscles, are used for sensing, breathing, feeding, and communicating. Elephants are incredibly compassionate, experiencing emotions like grief and altruism. This emotional depth, along with advanced problem-solving skills, points to a high level of intelligence comparable to dolphins and great apes. Sadly, Asian elephant populations have declined over 50% in just a few generations due to habitat destruction and poaching. Expanding agriculture, urbanization, and infrastructure development have destroyed 70% of their habitat range. Without sufficient habitat, elephants are forced into increased contact and conflict with humans over land and crops. Poaching also remains a severe threat as male Asian elephants are killed for their ivory tusks. Capturing wild elephants for use in the tourism industry has additionally decreased numbers. It's clear that human activity has been devastating for the Asian elephant. We must expand conservation efforts to preserve remaining habitats and reconnect fragmented populations. Each elephant life is precious, so ensuring the survival of the remaining Asian elephant population is imperative. With commitment and compassion, humans and elephants can thrive together. Number 11. Blue whale. Imagine an animal as long as a basketball court and heavier than a fully loaded school bus. The blue whale is the largest creature to have ever inhabited Earth, but today only a fraction of these marine giants remain. Before commercial whaling, over 350,000 blue whales roamed the oceans, but in the late 1800s, harpoon guns enabled mass hunting. By 1966, over 300,000 had been killed. Though whaling was banned that year, their numbers have struggled to recover from this devastating exploitation. Current estimates suggest only between 10,000 and 25,000 survive worldwide. This represents a mere 5% of historic levels. While no longer hunted, these endangered leviathans face new human-caused threats. Ship strikes and fishing gear entanglements now kill hundreds annually. Noise pollution interferes with their communication. Climate change impacts their food sources. While some populations show slow signs of recovery, their future remains uncertain in our human-dominated seas. Yet hope persists. Growing awareness of the blue whale's plight has led to stronger legal protections. Some groups are advocating for safer shipping lanes, reduced ocean noise, and more whale-friendly fishing practices. If humanity chooses to undo past harms, this giant of the deep could thrive once again. Their recovery would signify success for conservation and environmental resilience, but time is running short for the blue whale, which illuminates humanity's larger relationship with nature. Number 10. Polar bear. Imagine an animal so powerful it can smell a seal through 3 feet of ice, so resilient it can swim nonstop for days through frigid Arctic waters, and so massive it can stand over 10 feet tall and weigh up to 1,800 pounds. This monarch of the north is the polar bear, but the great white bear is in peril. Of the estimated 26,000 polar bears left worldwide, scientists classify them as vulnerable with a high risk of extinction. This is a sobering contrast to past decades when polar bears were abundant across the Arctic. So what changed to put the polar bear on thin ice? In large part, we humans bear responsibility. Our greenhouse gas emissions are driving accelerated climate change, causing Arctic sea ice to melt at unprecedented rates. Polar bears rely on sea ice to hunt, migrate, and rest. But with about 40% less sea ice cover than just a few decades ago, the polar bear's future looks bleak. Some projections estimate polar bears could be nearly extinct by 2100 if climate change continues unabated. As sea ice diminishes, polar bears spend more time on land where food is scarce. Their health declines without ample seal hunting, and females produce fewer cubs. Lower reproduction threatens the species' survival. Humans also degrade the polar bear's home through offshore oil drilling, industrial shipping, and pollution. And with less sea ice, dangerous polar bear encounters with Arctic communities are rising as the bears spend more time on shore. Number 9. Sumatran orangutan. The shaggy reddish coat and long arms of the Sumatran orangutan once filled the canopy of tropical forests in northern Sumatra. Now, this person of the forest clings precariously to existence, with only about 14,000 left in the wild. This critically endangered great ape is paying the price for humanity's actions. Extensive deforestation across Sumatra has destroyed much of the orangutan's arboreal habitat. Logging, uncontrolled fires, infrastructure projects, and clearing land for palm oil plantations continue to grind away at the remaining forest fragments. This rampant habitat loss leaves orphaned orangutans vulnerable to poachers, who capture infants for the illegal pet trade. Adults are also killed for bushmeat. It wasn't always like this. The Sumatran orangutan population numbered in the hundreds of thousands back when intact forests still blanketed the island, but in just one generation, this species has declined by over 80%. With such a slow reproductive rate, as females only give birth every 8 or 9 years, the population cannot recover from such devastating losses. The gentle, intelligent orangutan is running out of time. Urgent action is needed to protect remaining forest corridors and crack down on poaching. Palm oil producers must also commit to sustainable practices that spare primary forests. If current trends continue, conservationists warn the Sumatran orangutan could be extinct in just a decade. We cannot let our fellow great ape, sharing 97% of our DNA, disappear on our watch. Number 8. Red panda. With their adorable round faces and lush red fur, red pandas have captivated humans for centuries. Yet these charismatic creatures are now endangered, with less than 10,000 and possibly as few as 2,500 left in the wild. This dramatic decline is largely due to human activity. Red pandas once flourished across the temperate forests of the eastern Himalayas, but extensive deforestation has destroyed much of their habitat. As humans clear land for agriculture, mining, and settlements, red pandas are losing the trees and bamboo they depend on for food and shelter. Fragmentation from roads, dams, and power lines also isolates populations. With less space to roam, red pandas struggle to find mates and maintain genetic diversity. Poaching takes a further toll. Red pandas are killed for their pelts, which are used to make hats in some Asian countries. They're also captured for the illegal pet trade, despite their unsuitability as pets. And when red pandas get caught in snares intended for other wildlife, they perish as unintended casualties. The results are stark. Red panda numbers have plunged over 40% in just 2 decades. Although red pandas are legally protected across their range, lax enforcement enables poaching and habitat destruction to persist. And their remaining habitat will likely shrink further as climate change alters forest ecosystems. With intensive conservation action, the red panda may yet recover, but time is running short for this intriguing species. Their arboreal acrobatics and colorful charisma would be a tragic loss. Number 7. Tiger. The majestic tiger, once lord of Asia's forests, is in peril. These iconic big cats face the grave threat of extinction due to human activity. Shockingly, tiger populations have plummeted over 95% in just 100 years. In the early 1900s, around 100,000 tigers roamed freely across Asia. Today, less than 4,500 of these magnificent creatures remain in the wild. Some estimates are even lower, at just 3,500 tigers surviving worldwide. This catastrophic decline stems largely from habitat destruction. Tigers have lost a staggering 93% of their historic range as forests are cleared for farms and development. Without expansive wilderness to roam, tigers are increasingly pushed into conflict with humans. Poaching also wreaks havoc on tiger numbers. These big cats are illegally hunted for their valuable skins, bones, and other body parts which are sold on the black market. Weak enforcement enables this illicit wildlife trade to persist in many areas. Among the rarest and most threatened populations is the Sumatran tiger. Fewer than 400 of these tigers cling to survival on the Indonesian island of Sumatra. Accelerating deforestation and rampant poaching have devastated their numbers. With only around 6% of their original forest habitat left, Sumatran tigers are now critically endangered. Saving these remaining tigers will require a multi-pronged approach. As an apex predator, the tiger also serves as an umbrella species, protecting many other plants and animals within its forest home. Number 6. Great white shark. With its torpedo-shaped body, powerful jaws filled with serrated teeth, and ability to accelerate swiftly, the great white shark is one of the ocean's most dominant predators. Yet, this apex animal, which can grow over 20 feet long and weigh up to 5,000 pounds, is now vulnerable. Shockingly, there are fewer than 3,500 great white sharks remaining in the wild globally. This is a drastic decline from historical numbers, driven chiefly by human activity. Great whites have long been hunted for their fins, teeth, jaws, and meat. Even though they're not aggressive towards humans, great white sharks suffer from a reputation as man-eaters, leading to revenge killings. The insatiable demand for shark fin soup in some Asian markets has fueled substantial hunting of great whites for their valuable fins. Their teeth and jaws are also prized as trophies among sport fishermen and collectors. When not directly hunted, great white sharks often become entangled in gill nets and other fishing gear, resulting in death. With such a low reproductive rate, usually giving birth to only between 2 and 10 pups every couple of years after over a decade of reaching maturity, great white sharks cannot replenish their numbers quickly. Protecting great white sharks is crucial, as they're essential for maintaining balance in ocean ecosystems. As apex predators, they regulate populations of other fish and marine mammals. If great whites vanish, the effects would ripple down the food chain. Number 5. Yangtze finless porpoise. The Yangtze finless porpoise has won the hearts of humans for centuries thanks to its friendly disposition and round, chubby body. But this unique freshwater species is racing towards extinction due to human activity. The Yangtze finless porpoise inhabits only China's Yangtze River, the longest river in Asia. Once over 2,500 porpoises swam in these waters, but by 2006, dams, ship traffic, pollution, overfishing, and sand mining had slashed their numbers to 1,800. Today, just 1,000 Yangtze finless porpoises remain. This represents an over 90% decline since the 1980s. The porpoise's habitat is shrunk and fragmented, making it difficult for them to find mates and food. Toxic agricultural runoff poisons their prey, noisy propellers and motors disrupt their echolocation, causing deadly collisions, fishing nets entangle and drown them. The Yangtze finless porpoise is a bellwether for river health. Their extinction would imperil 500 million people who depend on the river. That's why conservationists are taking urgent steps to save the species. They're training fishermen in sustainable techniques protecting habitat, releasing captive porpoises, and working with river communities. In 2021, China banned fishing in the Yangtze for 10 years. This could give porpoise numbers a chance to recover, but experts estimate an 86% likelihood of extinction within 100 years if threats continue unabated. With its unique freshwater niche, the Yangtze finless porpoise occupies an irreplaceable role in its ecosystem. If we act now, it may not be too late to bring this smiling river denizen back from the brink. Number 4. Punk turtle. One of Australia's most unusual turtles, the Mary River turtle, is instantly recognizable thanks to its distinctive green mohawk. However, this distinctive creature is racing towards extinction due to human activity. Known for its ability to breathe through its genitals and stay submerged for up to 3 days, the punk turtle inhabits only a small stretch of Queensland's Mary River. Once abundant and popular as pets, punk turtle numbers have crashed over the last 50 years. Where thousands were collected annually for the pet trade in the 1960s and 70s, a 2017 study found just 136 adults in their limited habitat. Now, fewer than 100 are estimated to remain in the wild. Their demise is blamed on decades of nest raiding by turtle hunters, which removed generations of hatchlings. With females taking up to 30 years to reach breeding maturity, the species was unable to replenish itself. Habitat degradation from land clearing, invasive weeds, and predation by feral foxes have exacerbated their plight. Conservation efforts are now underway to protect nests and give hatchlings a head start, raising them in captivity before release. However, the outlook remains bleak for this evolutionary relic. Diverging from other turtles over 40 million years ago, the punk turtle represents an ancient lineage that's slipping towards extinction. To lose this unique animal would deprive the world of an endearing oddball. With focused conservation action, hopefully this punk icon can defy the odds and recover from the brink. We all need the Mary River turtle's rebellious spirit to prevail against conformity. Number 3. Amur leopard. With its stunning spotted coat and piercing green eyes, the Amur leopard is one of the most beautiful big cats on Earth. But tragically, it's also one of the most endangered. These incredible creatures were once found across northeastern China, the Korean Peninsula, and the southernmost parts of the Russian Far East. Today, only between 80 and 100 Amur leopards remain in the wild, confined to a small pocket of habitat along the Chinese-Russian border. So what happened to cause the Amur leopard's catastrophic decline? The primary culprit is us humans. These solitary cats need vast territories to survive, but logging and development have fractured their forest homes. Illegal poaching also takes a devastating toll, driven by the high black market value of leopard skins and bones. And when Amur leopards lose their natural prey, like deer, due to overhunting, they sometimes turn to domestic livestock, prompting retaliatory killings by local farmers. But it's not just direct persecution that threatens the Amur leopard. Humans are also slowly cooking their habitat. Climate change decreases prey availability and makes deadly forest fires more likely, and with such a tiny gene pool, disease could easily wipe out the remaining population. If we don't act now, our children may live in a world without wild Amur leopards. These cats have adapted to their frozen forest home for millennia. Number 2. Javan rhinos. The Javan rhinoceros, with its thick plate-like hide and single horn, is reminiscent of a dinosaur, but this rare species may soon exist only in history books. Javan rhinos are critically endangered, with barely 75 remaining in the wild. This represents a catastrophic decline. These rhinos once roamed Southeast Asia from Assam to Java. Now confined to Indonesia's Ujung Kulon National Park, the Javan rhinoceros's future seems bleak. Humans bear much responsibility for the Javan rhino's decline. These rhinos have been hunted ruthlessly for centuries. During colonial times, they were killed as trophies. Locals also shot them as pests and harvested their horns for traditional medicine. Horns can fetch up to $15,000 per pound on the black market today. Meanwhile, land conversion for agriculture eliminated much former rhino habitat. Yangtze now harbors the last Javan rhinos on Earth, but with under 80 individuals, the population is perilously small. Such tiny populations face grave threats from inbreeding, disease outbreaks, and natural disasters. Already, the tsunami-prone park has seen several rhino deaths from a fungal disease transmitted by cattle. Since Javan rhinos exist nowhere else, a volcano eruption, tsunami, or epidemic in Yangtze could doom the entire species. Conservationists are scrambling to save the Javan rhino. Protection teams now patrol Yangtze against poachers, and habitat is being expanded inside the park by removing invasive plants that crowd out the rhino's food. Yet more action is urgently needed. Establishing a second population in a separate park may be the Javan rhino's only hope. Without bold human intervention, these primordial-looking beasts will soon vanish in the blink of a geological eye. Number 1. Vaquita. With its distinctive large black rings around the eyes and mouth, the vaquita porpoise is one of the most charming marine mammals. Sadly, this small porpoise, found only in Mexico's Gulf of California, is also the most endangered cetacean in the world. Experts estimate that there are now less than 10 vaquita left. The population has declined by over 98% in just 2 decades, from around 600 in 1997 to only about 10 today. This dramatic drop is almost entirely due to accidental deaths caused by illegal gillnet fishing in the vaquita's limited habitat. Although vaquita are not directly hunted, they become entangled in the nets set for commercially valuable fish like totoaba and shrimp. Unable to reach the surface to breathe, they tragically drown. Illegal totoaba fishing has surged in recent years, driven by demand in China for their swim bladders believed to have medicinal value. This has led to even more gill nets in vaquita waters. The Mexican government has taken some steps to protect the vaquita, such as establishing a refuge and banning gill nets where they live. However, enforcement remains very weak. Fishing with gill nets continues openly with little consequence for lawbreakers. Some vaquita supporters have even been attacked for removing illegal nets. Yet all hope is not lost for these elusive porpoises. Scientists confirm the remaining vaquita are still healthy and able to breed. Their genetics remain diverse enough to rebound if gill net deaths can be completely stopped, but experts warn time is running out. Unless the Mexican government finally gets serious about enforcing gill net bans and transitioning to vaquita-safe fishing gear, the species will likely vanish in just a few years. Not everything has been bad. Humans have saved several animals from extinction, like the case of the blue iguana that went from having only 25 alive at its worst point to over 1,000 now. If you want to see more animals that humans have saved from extinction, check out this video: 15 animals saved from extinction by humans.